Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is StephanieNicoleH. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this Elf on a Swing Christmas wreath with all of the items from Dollar Tree and Walmart. So for all the details, make sure to keep watching.
Da 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 da, making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday.
Alright guys, so let's just start with everything that you need to make this wreath. So this wired wreath form, which is 18 inches, which I picked up from Walmart. This wooden board from Dollar Tree, which my husband drilled a hole on each side. Also 2 kebab sticks, jute cord, floral wire. Also 2 elves, a mommy and daddy as my daughter would say. A roll and a half of burlap, which I picked up from Walmart. Also some mesh tubing. I got one in red, gold, and green. And not pictured here, a hot glue gun with hot glue sticks. So first I'm going to cut off about 4 inches of floral wire and set that to the side. And now I'm going to take the end of my burlap and place that under the wired wreath, bringing both sides around those 2 middle wires and pinching the ends together. And now I'm going to take my floral wire, thread it through the burlap, and secure it onto the wired wreath. So I'm going to use that separator wire as kind of an anchor, and then just twist the floral wire closed to secure it to the wreath. And once the floral wire has been secured, I'm going to clip off the excess. So with my burlap with both of those sides meeting together at the top, I'm going to pinch and slide over. So pinch about 1 inch or 1/2 inch and slide over. Pinch and slide, pinch and slide, pinch and slide. And when I get to that metal separator, I'm going to show you how I go around that, but you will not be cutting the burlap. As long as both sides of the burlap meet at the top, it's pretty simple to just pinch and slide, pinch and slide, pinch and slide. That is the majority of this wreath. Make sure to bunch up each section very, very tight with the burlap, or it will fall out and you'll have to start over. Also, with this 18-inch wired wreath, I did pick up from Walmart, and that's because Dollar Tree was out. This one was about $2.50, but you always can use one from Dollar Tree. The wire wreaths from Dollar Tree are only about 12 inches, so you would only need 1 roll of burlap as opposed to this 18-inch one, which I used about 1.5 rolls of burlap. Now that I've come to that wired separator, I'm going to show you how I go around it without cutting the burlap. So all I'm doing is bringing the burlap under that wire, bringing those both sides around those 2 middle wires again, and then again pinching and sliding over, pinching and sliding over the fabric. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and continue this pinching and sliding over method in the next few sections, and then I will be back to show you the next step. Also, it's okay to fluff out each section after you finish with it instead of waiting to the end. All you're doing is separating those 2 sides of the burlap and fluffing. I'm still doing the pinching and sliding over method. This wired wreath had 9 sections, so I'm still trucking along. I'm going to finish off these few sections, and then I will be back to show you how I secure the ends. Now that I finished bunching all of my burlap all around the wired wreath, I'm going to take another 4-inch piece of floral wire and thread that through the 2 ends of the burlap and weave the wire towards the back of the wreath, and then twist to secure and clip off the excess. And now I'm going to turn the wreath over and separate the burlap. It's okay if you can see that wire in between. You just bunch and twist the fabric until it's concealed. This is what your wreath should look like after step 1. And now with a tape measure, I'm going to measure off 32 inches of the mesh tubing, and I'm going to cut off 9 pieces of each color. After I use the tape measure as a guide for that first mesh tubing piece, I'm just going to use the same mesh tubing piece and use as a guide for my other 8 pieces. It's okay if you're off with your measurements because you will be able to cut off the excess once you make your mesh tubing bundles. I'm going to finish cutting the remaining gold ones, and then I will do the green and the red off camera, and then I will be back to show you the next step. So now I have all 9 pieces of the gold, and here are the red as well as the green. So in order to make my bundles, what I'm doing is taking one of each color and lining those up at the top, and then folding them down and folding it over, folding it down, folding it over again. And you see that little long piece at the top? Just gonna cut that right off. And to secure this bundle, I'm just gonna take a small piece of a pipe cleaner, pinch it around the middle, and then twist to secure closed. Since you have 9 pieces of each color, you will be making 9 bundles. Now that I have my bundles done, I'm going to flip the wired wreath over and find those wire dividers. Once I find those wire dividers, I'm going to estimate what is right there in the middle, and that is where I'm going to put my bundle. To install my bundles, I'm going to find those 2 middle wires that the burlap is around. I'm going to tuck the ends of my pipe cleaners around those wires and then twist to secure. Then I'm going to bunch and twist the burlap around it to secure the wires again. I'm going to continue to do this 8 more times. So again, finding those divider wires on the back, turning it over and putting my bundle right there in the middle between those 2 divider wires. And again, in order to do so, I'm tucking the ends of the pipe cleaner around those 2 middle wires and then twisting to secure, and then bunching and twisting the burlap to conceal those wires again. I'm going to show you how to do this one more time, and then I'm going to do the remaining 7 off camera. So again, finding those 2 divider wires on the back of the wreath, turning it over, and then tucking the ends of the pipe cleaner around those 2 middle wires, twisting to secure, and then bunching the burlap around those wires to conceal. And this is what the wreath should look like after all 9 of the mesh tubing bundles have been installed. And now for my elves and their swings. So first things first, I'm just going to cut off the tag on both of my elves. Next, I'm going to take my kebab stick, and this may sound harsh, but I'm going to poke that up the back side of the elf. And I want the kebab stick to be as close to the back as possible, and I'm going to push it all the way up, but not so far up that it's poking out the top. And I'm going to do the same exact thing to the other elf. This is just going to secure the elf on the swing so it's not hunched over or leaning forward. It sits straight up. And now I'm going to take my wooden board, which I purchased from Dollar Tree. My husband drilled a hole on both sides of the board about 1 inch or 1.5 inches over. And now I'm going to hot glue that kebab stick to the back of the board. I put a little bit of hot glue directly on the board and then place my kebab stick right on top of it, and then also another layer of hot glue just to secure. Make sure you hold the kebab stick in place for it to dry. And with my other elf, I just glued that kebab stick right next to the other one. And now I'm just clipping off the ends. And as you can see, that glue is not completely dry, so I'm just going to hold it in place. And this is what your elves should look like, sitting straight up. So now I'm going to glue their hands together like they're holding hands. And now I'm going to cut off 2 pieces of the jute cord about 12 inches long each. I'm going to take one of the pieces of the cord, thread it through the wooden board, and tie a knot on the underside of that board. And I tied it about 3 times just to make sure that it was secure. And I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. So threading the jute cord through the hole in the wooden board and then tying a knot on the underside, tying about 3 times just to make sure that it's secure. So as you can see, now my elves are on a swing. The only thing left to do now is tie the strings onto the wreath. I do apologize, but me tying the string on the left side was out of frame, but you'll be able to see more when I tie the string on the right. But all I'm doing is tying the string around the most inner wire on the wired wreath, tying it about 3 times and making sure it's tight enough so that the swing is towards the middle of the wreath. So now I finally noticed that I was out of frame and I moved the wreath down so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So all I'm doing is taking that string, tucking it under the most inner wire on the wired wreath, pulling it taut, and then tying it 3 times to secure. And with the excess string on the end, I'm just clipping that off. And that is it for this wreath. So off camera, I did cut off a piece of the jute cord, tied it in a loop, and then put it on the top of the wreath just so that I can hang it on my door. But this is it. I absolutely love it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you all.